Companies Act, Section 378G, Comprehensive Framework for the Articles of Association of a Producer Company. Section 378G of the Companies Act, 2013 provides a detailed legal framework regarding the Articles of Association, AOA, of a producer company. The AOA is one of the two foundational constitutional documents of a company, the other being the Memorandum of Association, and it sets out the internal governance structure, operational rules, and mutual responsibilities between the company and its members. For a producer company which operates on the principles of cooperation and mutual assistance, this section ensures that the articles reflect its unique character, obligations, and values. 1. Requirement for submission at the time of registration. At the time of registration, the following documents must be presented to the Registrar of Companies in the state where the registered office of the producer company is proposed to be located, as stated in its Memorandum of Association. The Memorandum of Association, MOA, of the producer company and the Articles of Association, duly signed by all the subscribers to the memorandum. These documents are legally binding and define the structure, functioning, and governance of the producer company. 2. Mandatory inclusion of mutual assistance principles in the articles. The Articles of Association of a producer company must include certain core cooperative principles, referred to as mutual assistance principles. These principles reflect the ethos of collective ownership, participation, and shared benefit. They include: A. Voluntary and inclusive membership. Membership should be voluntary and open to all eligible persons who can either participate in the activities of the producer company, or avail of its services or facilities, and are willing to accept the responsibilities and duties of membership. B. Equal voting rights. Every member shall generally have only one vote, irrespective of the number of shares held, unless otherwise specified under the relevant provisions of this chapter. This promotes democratic governance and prevents control based solely on financial contribution. C. Governance by an accountable board. The producer company shall be governed by a board of directors, which must be constituted in accordance with the provisions of this chapter, and accountable to the members of the company. D. Limited return on share capital. The articles must mention the limited return, i.e., a capped dividend or profit, that may be paid to members on their contributed share capital. E. Equitable distribution of surplus. The surplus income of the producer company, after making necessary provisions, must be distributed equitably through development of the company's business, creation or maintenance of common facilities, distribution among members in proportion to their participation in the business of the company. F. Education and training. Provision must be made for promoting the education of members, employees, and others on cooperative principles and techniques of mutual assistance. G. Cooperative networking. The company must be committed to cooperate with other producer companies or similarly aligned organizations locally, nationally, or internationally for the collective benefit of its members and the communities it serves. 3. Specific provisions to be included in the articles. In addition to the mutual assistance principles, the articles must contain detailed governance provisions on the following matters. A. Membership rules, eligibility criteria and qualifications for membership, conditions for continuing or cancelling membership, procedures and terms for transfer of shares. B. Patronage and voting. The method for determining patronage, i.e., a member's participation in the business, the voting rights based on such patronage, where applicable. C. Constitution and functioning of the board, structure, powers, and functions of the board of directors, minimum and maximum number of directors, procedures for election and appointment of directors, retirement by rotation, qualifications and terms of office, filling of vacancies, co-option and removal of directors, appointment of the chief executive. D. Chairman and meetings, election of the chairman, terms of office for directors and the chairman, manner of voting, in general or special meetings of members, at board meetings by directors, powers of the chairman, including casting vote in case of a tie. E. Withheld price, circumstances and methods for determining and distributing the withheld price, i.e., the portion of payment for produce that is temporarily retained. F. Patronage bonus, method of disbursing patronage bonus either in cash, by issue of equity shares, or both. G. Contributions and related provisions, manner in which members contribute, share in surplus, or provide resources, in accordance with Section 378 ZI, 2. H. Bonus shares, matters relating to issue of bonus shares out of general reserves under Section 378 ZJ. I. Share allotment for produce supplied, basis and manner of allotting equity shares in lieu of all or part of the sale proceeds of members' produce. J. Financial provisions, capital reserves and funds, amount of reserves, sources of funding, limitations on fundraising, permitted uses of such funds, extent of permissible debt and associated conditions. K. Credit and advances, conditions for granting loans, credit, or advances to members. L. Member information rights, rights of members to access information on the general business of the producer company. M. Disposal of funds upon dissolution, procedures for distribution and disposal of surplus funds, after meeting liabilities, in the event of dissolution or liquidation. N. Structural changes, division, amalgamation or merger, creation of subsidiaries, entering into joint ventures. O. Adoption of constitutional documents, requirement to present the MOA and AOA before a special general meeting of members to be held within 90 days of registration. P. Any other provisions, any other matter which the members may, by special resolution, decide to include in the Articles of Association to enhance governance or clarify procedures. For more details, contact us.